Good afternoon, candidates.
Good afternoon.
And good luck. Okay, so for each candidate, starting with Robert Allen, then Vernon Davis, then John Johnston, and then Francis Paul. That's the order. 1 minute each. Please introduce yourself with your name, class, some pertinent biographical information, and why you desire to represent the alumni on the Board of Trustees. First candidate is Robert Allen.
Okay. Good afternoon, my Lincoln University family. My name is Robert Allen, and I am running for the Board of Trustees. I am not seeking a seat on the Board of Trustees to add as a highlight to my resume, nor am I seeking a seat on the board to fill a need for power. What I am seeking is the opportunity to engage with Lincoln University in a way and in a position which I feel I can make the strongest and greatest contribution possible to Lincoln University that I owe so much. Although I thought I knew who I was, Lincoln University saw who I could be. There were professors who challenged me and took time to prepare me in ways that I will be forever grateful. There were my classmates, my fellow students from different backgrounds, different states, different countries, different experiences, where Lincoln University was that common thread that weaved us all together. Many of us have remained friends for a lifetime and each in our own way are protective of Lincoln University. I participated in activities that broadened my scope, allowed me to grow. I became a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Beta Chapter Incorporated. One of my greatest accomplishments was earning my degree in business administration in 1980. I met and fell in love with a lion, the woman who I married and have spent the last 31 plus years with, my wife Beverly Mosley Allen, class of 1982. We have 2 sons, Robert Jr. and James. So as you can see, I owe Lincoln University a lot. I've always had the commitment to give back to... Do I get to...
Time. Next question.
Vernon Davis is the next person up. It's a minute, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vernon Davis. I'm a member of the class of 1986. Originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. However, I currently reside in Deptford, New Jersey, where my wife and my 6 children also reside, 2 of which are Lincoln University graduates. When I first started my journey in terms of contributing back to the Alumni Association, I served as a parliamentarian with our Philadelphia chapter. I then subsequently served as the president of the chapter for 4 years and also the treasurer for 8 years. My wish and objective in terms of getting you to support me in my quest to become reelected as the alumni trustee I need you to help me to finish the job that we started 3.5 years ago, and that job was to serve Lincoln University. It is through that service on the Board of Trustees that we can all become contributing members of the association.
Next will be John Johnston.
Good afternoon. My name is John Johnston, and I'm a member of the class of 1989. I'm a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, currently residing in Baltimore, Maryland with my family, my wife Jill Johnston, who is the class of 1987, and my daughter April, who is the class of 2011. Being in the Lincoln University family brings a lot of serious and intense moments where you think about servitude, not only to your family as alumni, but to your fellow alumni, friends, different partners that you met throughout the years, and of course, keeping the gates of Lincoln University open. My purpose for running for trustee for a 2nd term is to encourage an alumni-friendly campus and culture, support alumni membership and fundraising efforts, support a technology-savvy alumni foundation as well as the university, maintain and develop the rich history of Lincoln University, obtain top-notch, diverse student talent for our university, maintain a flow of growth and advancement for the university.
Francis Paul.
Good afternoon. My name is Francis Paul, and I graduated in the class of 1979. I am currently the second vice president for the Philadelphia Alumni Chapter. I'm the acting chaplain also. I have been the class representative or the class agent for my class since 1989. So my love goes all the way back to after I graduated in 1980. I came back here, 1979. I came back and I worked here from 1980 to 1984. I don't know any days where I have not shown my love, and what I say is love known is love shown. And so therefore, I show my love to Lincoln University via my time and my talents. I volunteered in many areas, too many to note to say here, but my reason for being on this ballot is I believe that together, everyone achieves more. That's team. And then I also know that if a house is divided against itself, it cannot stand.
Thank you. The first question is for Vernon Davis. What do you think are Lincoln's 3 most pressing issues, and describe an initiative that would propose to remedy one of them? If you need me to repeat it, I can. But
There are 3 major issues that I think we need to face. One is we have to improve sales, and what I mean by improving sales is we need to have a concerted effort to retain and recruit students at Lincoln University. But when I say sales, when you look at the number of students that come into the doors that leave 3 months later, we got to do a better job at keeping those students here. Second issue, and I believe that it goes hand in hand with that, is we have to develop and increase the number of alumni that give back to Lincoln University. You can give back $1,000, $10,000, and you have alumni that have the capability to do that. However, it's no shame in giving back $25 a week back to Lincoln University. And I've spearheaded a campaign to actually contribute back to the university. It started about 10 years ago through my payroll deduction. Third issue is improving the spirit as it relates to athletics, and that again goes hand in hand with developing and raising more money for the student athletes, and also for the in addition to that, for the student scholars as well. How much time do I have? A minute? 3 minutes? Okay, 30 seconds. In terms of recruitment, I think that we all as alumni have an opportunity to go out and reach a student at a high school, a student that's considering college, and bring them to Lincoln University and let them see the campus. Once you see the campus, I fell in love with it, my children fell in love with it, their friends fell in love with the campus of Lincoln University. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Davis. The next question is for John Johnston. What do you think are Lincoln's 3 most pressing issues, and describe an initiative that would propose to remedy one of them?
I think starting off with the university, we must have strong leadership, and that starts with selecting talent, the president of the institution. The university must have the right person that fits the dynamic culture of our campus, from its faculty, students, and alumni. That is the first issue that has to be first and foremost on our bullseye. The second piece, as it relates to our student body, is developing relationships. One of the things I had the pleasure of doing, which is twofold, one was with an alumni and the other was with another company, was having an exclusive relationship developed with Lincoln University, in addition to Morehouse and Fisk, with a company called United Natural Foods Incorporated. Through some networking and some people that I knew, I was able to bring a C-level executive up to the school, and we were able to seal a deal where exclusive hiring of 25 people between Lincoln, Fisk, and Morehouse was developed. The next thing is alumni, an alumni-friendly environment. but not only just in terms of Lincoln University being friendly to alumni, but alumni being friendly to Lincoln University, and developing and nourishing that culture where, we provide different types of outlets for alumni to give back to the school. It could be through service, it could be through money if people have the money to give, but it could also be through service. And it could also be through mentoring and showing our students what a Lincoln University alumni looks like on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is for Francis Paul. Francis, what specific attributes will you bring to the position of trustee?
I believe the specific attributes that I would bring to the alumni trustee would be the goals that I have even within my life, and those are attributes: respect, integrity, the fact that I believe in open communication and cooperation together. Those things are integral in us working together in order to perpetuate the good things that we have that are going on. However, to increase those things, I had mentioned previously that if a house is divided against itself, it cannot stand. So some important things that I see, we need to have communication that is more open. We need to now, there seems to be a possible disconnect. I believe that we have to come together in order to communicate, in order to be open to the different ideas, the different beliefs that we have, but we cannot agree, but we need to do it in an agreeable manner. I bring the fact that I'm patient. I bring the fact that I have love. I bring the fact that you don't always have to fight verbally in order to achieve the goals that you have placed before you. So I hope that common factor that we can get the job done, but in order to get it done, we've got to do it together. And there's a lot as alumni we need to pull together and increase in order to get the job done. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. Robert Allen, it's going to be the same question. What specific attributes will you bring to the position of trustee?
Thank you. The attributes that I will bring to the table are those positions as in leadership, project management, excellent communication skills, a team player. I have over 25 years of corporate experience that I bring to the table, 8 years in real estate sales, and 12+ years in higher education, being mostly here at the Lincoln University, Pennsylvania. I believe that we need to, in order to do that, we must engage and reunite our alumni. We must build teams, we must be able to agree to disagree, and we must all sit down and be able to speak to one another and not talk at one another. So again, my leadership is the skills that I will bring will be that as a team builder, but as well as that of a leader. That's
Thank
my
you.
response.
John Johnston, what qualities, qualifications, and/or vision are you looking for in the 14th president of Lincoln University?
First and foremost, leadership. Second, character. I think character, one of the most dynamic things that stands out for Lincoln alumni is character of our alumni. So the president has to have a character that's going to match alumni and student actions as well as relationships. I think for the faculty, having gotten to know some of the faculty that are up here, we have some great faculty, and I think that you have to be able to be a well-rounded individual, especially at Lincoln University, because this campus has been around, this institution has been around for a very long time, and we've had some dynamic leaders here, but we've also had some leaders that had some opportunity. So, character is going to be huge for the university, and the other thing that's going to be very important is the individual is going to have patience, because that individual is coming behind, a past administration that we all know had some challenges. So the next person that comes into that position is going to have to be very patient, going to have a dynamic character, And, you know, the other thing that they're going to have to do ultimately is really have a passion for what they do on a daily basis.
Thank you. The next question is for Francis Paul. It's the same question. What qualities, qualifications, and/or vision are you looking for in the 14th president of Lincoln University?
I am looking for the 14th president of Lincoln University to have an understanding and respect for legacy. In coming into the position, take the time to know our rich history. Take the time to embrace our legacy. There are things that may need to be changed. However, wait and find out what those are. How do you find those things out? Have a willingness to listen. Listen to the members of the Board of Trustees very clearly. Listen to the students. Listen to our alumni. Have that willingness to do that before making any drastic changes. Take the time. Legacy, willingness, as it was also stated, leadership. Of course, leadership qualities are very important. Character, very important. When you put all those things together, I believe that it's a total package. They need to possess all of these and more in order to be our 14th president. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is for Robert Allen. We're giving you the opportunity to answer this question that was answered previously by the other candidates. Okay. What do you think are Lincoln's 3 most pressing issues? And describe an initiative that would propose to remedy one of them.
Thank you. The 3 most pressing issues that I consider are the 3 issues that I'm running on my platform. Number 1, we need to increase student enrollment, which has a direct impact with Middle States accreditation. Number 2, we need to increase student morale here on the campus, both at the graduate and the undergraduate center. And number 3, we need to make sure that we need to make sure that we engage and reunite our alumni. And I'd like to address the platform number 1 issue of how do we increase the enrollment here at Lincoln University. First, the administration must fully staff our admissions office and provide them with an adequate budget to provide Lincoln University marketing materials and actively recruit in our high schools. Number 2, we need to increase our Lincoln University tours on campus and allow our recruiters and our counselors to follow up in these high schools. Number 3, which I consider most important, we need to utilize our students as student ambassadors. Our student ambassadors know their friends back in high school as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and they are a pipeline to increasing our enrollment. We need to utilize our alumni chapters. They are very aggressive at this point, and we need to continue that. And finally, we need to continue to look at our articulation agreements as another means of increasing our student population here on campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Vernon Davis, what is your position regarding restoring Alumni Week to May and graduation to Sunday?
It's a great question, great question, and also it's a great battle. As an alum, I see nothing more important than the fellowship that's developed during the Alumni Weekend. That weekend starts on a Friday and commences with commencement on Sunday. So my position is, and my lobbying effort on the Board of Trustees is to try and have that weekend restored for the alumni of Lincoln University. Not only for us, but also for the graduating seniors that have an opportunity during that weekend to fellowship with the alumni who have passed through, the emeritus classes, you know, the classes from the same number of and class of either Pi or Phi. So it is very important, and the key there, though, is to raise the funds in order to accommodate that weekend. If it is an issue of finances, Those issues need to be brought before the Alumni Association and the alumni. And if it's our wish as alumni to have that weekend back, then I think we need to be willing to step up to pay for that. One, through using both sides of the dorms, the air-conditioned dorms, which I think you can raise about $25,000 to $30,000 per side, and also by supporting the alumni banquet to raise additional scholarship funds for the university. Thank you.
Thank you. Francis Paul, now I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to this question. What do you think are Lincoln's 3 most pressing issues? And describe an initiative that would propose to remedy one of them.
Restate that, please, the question.
What do you think are Lincoln's 3 most pressing issues? And describe an initiative that would propose to remedy one of them.
I believe the 3 most pressing issues for Lincoln University are recruitment of students. I believe, I'm not sure what happened with our recruiting before, but I do know that there are students out there who have applied to the university and did not receive a response. So I believe at this point, there needs to be an upgrade. So whatever the problems are there, we need to fix those, because we have students who are going to other universities because, and I know this for a fact because they did not get a response from us. So recruitment, academic excellence is another important initiative. The students who are here, I'm not sure what happened exactly to some of our professors who were here. However, we lost some excellent professors. And so therefore, the retention has to do with not just monies and scholarships, or not just financial reasons, but it also has to do with the professors and the personnel who are here, those who embrace our students. So I believe that's another initiative that we need to address, and that is retention. And then another initiative that's very important to me is our relationship with our alumni, and that being our alumni need to be embraced. It needs to be embraced. The relationship needs to be improved. And I'll say from us as alumni trustees, if we were to get in, but our alumni trustees, we need to embrace our alumni association, strengthen that, grow that, because our presence needs to be seen more on this campus. Our students need to see us. They need to see our increased financial giving. They need to see us here as mentors. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. Robert Allen has the next question. Okay. Many alumni are concerned with the preservation of Lincoln's historic buildings. Where do you stand on this issue?
My stand is very clear. We need to preserve our history. As an alumni, we have very few buildings left on this campus that are buildings of tradition and heritage. Lincoln University owns 422 acres of land here. There is no reason why we can't preserve those buildings as historic buildings, continue to build new buildings in terms of dormitories, research centers, and at times there have been discussion of hotels and a convention center. I am very clear that we need the historic buildings that we have here left now. We need to maintain those. And again, with the 422 acres, there is time and resources to build and expand.
Thank you. Vernon Davis. As a current board member, what standing committees are you serving on? Are you in a leadership position? And what do you feel are your significant accomplishments or contributions to the Board of Trustees during your tenure?
Okay. Currently, I'm sitting on the Investments Committee, where I'm a contributing member of the committee. This committee has is currently developing a strategy to define the requirements for investing Lincoln University's endowed funds. In addition to that, we received a report today that that fund that we are overseeing is actually performing better than the national average and better than our peer schools that we're competing against. So those funds, while we need more, they are doing quite well in those hands. I think in terms of my greatest accomplishment that I feel as though I've contributed to the Board of Trustees, it was on the Student Affairs Committee, where I helped to put together the plan to develop the Parents Association, and that is having parents represented at the university. And I served as an officer in the organization in addition to developing that. I was asked by the president of the university and the vice president to help to develop that Parents Association, to have an additional voice for the, for the investors. Our customers who are our students, they're parents, they're the investors. Okay.
Thank you. The next question is for John Johnston. Many alumni are concerned with the preservation of Lincoln's historic buildings. Where do you stand on this issue?
I believe strongly that the university itself is a historic treasure as being the nation's oldest HBCU. The buildings that reside on the campus are equally important, and I think that the key to keeping everything in sync is creating a harmonious relationship between all people, all individuals and entities that are concerned, whether it's a trustee board or member, whether it's different committees that we have established to forge the commitment towards preserving our treasured buildings, and also current students that are on the campus that are using those buildings right now. This is part of their legacy right now. They're going to have their fond moments and memories of these buildings right now, walking through the campus as we did when we were all on this campus. So the campus itself, if you've ever brought people that aren't Lincoln alumni to the campus, they're always blown away when they come to the campus. I brought people up to tour the campus. I brought corporate people up here. They're just blown away by what the campus looks like. So I think that we need to preserve that, and we need to build upon it.
Thank you. Robert Allen, what do you think is the Alumni Trustees' role in relation to the Alumni Association?
Would you repeat the question, please?
What do you think is the Alumni Trustees' role in relation to the Alumni Association?
The alumni role as a trustee should be that we should be able to bring all shareholders to the table. And when I say bring all shareholders to the table, we must respect the opinions of not only the members of the Board of Trustees, but we must respect those opinions of the alumni. The voices of those who serve on the board, they must not be silent voices. And those who have concerns who are not on the board, their voice must not be silenced. So we need someone who's on the board, who's going to bring some leadership skills, who are going to listen to the alumni and what they speak for, and bring those issues directly to the board as a concern, but hopefully as a recommendation for implementation.
Thank you. Vernon Davis, what do you think is the Alumni Trustees' role in relation to the Alumni Association?
Well, the Alumni Trustees' role over the past decade has really changed. It has gone from being a part of the leadership of the Alumni Association, that is part of the executive committee, to now just being a member of the Alumni Association. In order for us to be a cohesive unit, we have to speak in one voice. And that was the purpose beyond, from a historic perspective, from the alumni trustees being a part of the executive committee. Current leadership has chose to go in a different direction. However, I feel that we, as alumni trustees, need to be on the same page with the Alumni Association in order to deliver the message from the alumni. It is a process that we have to go through. It is a process that is done through committee on the Board of Trustees. And that process starts with the voice of the alumni trustee carrying that message through committee in order to enact or to help to make a change. And I think that by having that one voice and being a part of the executive committee, we then can deliver that message through and to the board, through the committees of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. John Johnston. As alumni trustee of the AALU, how have you communicated the ideology, of the Alumni Association to the board? And if you need me to repeat it, I'll do that.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. I got a little tongue-tied. As alumni trustee of the AALU, how have you communicated the ideology of the Alumni Association to the board?
Well, that's a very good question. And also it's one that's part of your responsibility. You know, as an alumni appointed trustee, you have a responsibility to communicate the voice of the alumni. You have a responsibility to communicate what's right for the university, to keep the university going. And when we have sessions and we have meetings, we have it behind the scenes. There's different breakout sessions between different committees. So you have to communicate within that committee. You also communicate within the confines of having a chair that's going to be an open person that you can pick up the phone and call anytime. Sometimes it's specifically going to be dialogue between the trustee and the chair, which I've done on several occasions and comfortable calling at any time, but also being a person who has the discipline to keep in tune with what current events are. What things are going to impact the university through elections, what's going to impact the university through having a new governor and different things. So you have to be very committed, and you also have to pretty much be steadfast and stay on top of everything that's going on in that university. Sometimes it's not just a matter of the voice, it's a matter of being prepared to voice your opinion.
Thank you. Francis Paul. As alumni trustee of the AALU, how will you communicate the ideology of the Alumni Association to the board?
State that question one more time, please.
As alumni trustee to AALU, how will you communicate the ideology of the Alumni Association to the board?
Okay. I believe I would achieve that by acknowledging this. I believe that I would be a voice of the Alumni Association, of the AALU. I believe that I would then be a bridge that sometimes over troubled waters very clearly, but even when it's not popular to state, even when others don't agree, it's still my responsibility to state the things that must be stated. It's my responsibility, and I have no problems with being that one to say things in a diplomatic manner. However, I don't bite my tongue when things need to be said, and I state exactly that, and I stand on what I say, but I take the time very clearly to think about those things before I say it. When I then verbalize those things, I do it in such a way that it will be received. It won't be antagonistic. It will be said in such a way to not harm and heal. It will be done in such a way in order to bring about change, in order to bring about those things that we need. It's all in the communication. I won't close my mouth, but I will watch how I say the things when I open my mouth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Vernon Davis. What qualities, qualifications, and/or vision are you looking for in the 14th president of Lincoln University?
I believe that the 14th president of Lincoln University should not only be a fundraiser, but it should also be, he or she should also be a friend raiser. And I think that through fundraising and friend raising, you are not only asking, but you're also cultivating You're cultivating the alumni. You're cultivating businesses that are local and foreign and abroad. I think that the key to the next president of Lincoln University and their success is to be someone who can bridge the gap between being the leader of the faculty, the president for the students, and also the president for the alumni of Lincoln University and all of its stakeholders. That person needs to really understand our culture as a university and take time to learn about not only our history but also the culture, how we go about being alumni of Lincoln University.
Thank you. This is for John Johnston. As a current board member, what standing committees are you serving on? Are you in a leadership position, and what do you feel are your significant accomplishments or contributions to the Board of Trustees during your tenure?
Currently, I reside on the Audit Committee and on the Planning Committee for the board this year. In the past, in what I consider to be a, situation where you go right out of the frying pan and into the fire, during my first term, I served on the Education and Policy Committee, during which time we had some opportunities with middle states that the university was going through. So that particular situation educated me a lot. We created some dynamic relationships with peers from other universities to get the Standard 14 mandate, updated on the campus. And as a result, we passed with flying colors. And if you go on Middle State's website right now, Lincoln is an accredited institution, and we've done very good in all of our visits and audits with Middle State. So I feel, having served on that committee during my first, when I first came on board, it makes me fulfilled to know that we're an accredited university, and I had a small role to play in that, and that helps out with attaining top-notch talent, because you can't recruit anybody to a school if it's not accredited.
Thank you. Francis Paul, what is your position regarding restoring Alumni Week to May and graduation to Sunday?
I clearly desire that we return to our alumni reunion weekend that then is a part of the graduation weekend. It saddened me when we lost it. However, I believe that it should be restored, but there are changes that need to take place. If in fact the cost of the rooms need to be increased, we need to take a look at that. I know that people come back to party, but I say this as our last reunion, 35-year reunion, our classmates partied, but they partied with a purpose, so that our goal that was given by the university was $30,000. However, our giving was over $41,000. So we can come back and we can have a good time together, but in having that good time, let's think in terms of possibly increasing or needing to increase the room. Possibly add in there that anyone who reserves a room must also pay for the banquet ticket. So include that in there. Have that encompass, whatever the amount is, they pay that. And possibly also take a look at the alumni giving for that weekend also. I know it's for the alumni classes, but I believe in giving every year. So it's not just on reunion years that you give every year. If in fact there is a push and maybe present to our alumni when we come back, include some nominal fee, could be $25, could be $50, but have those envelopes there for them, or have it a part of registration that must be paid also. Give them the credit for it, be sure that they get their receipts for it. But if we do that, we'll cover the cost, but we'll also increase our alumni percentages, which we need to do in order to move forward. So please bring back our Alumni Association, our Alumni Reunion Weekend that coincides with graduation.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. The next question is for Robert Allen.
Okay.
What qualities, qualifications, and/or vision are you looking for in the 14th president of Lincoln University?
Thank you. The next president, he or she at Lincoln University must have strong leadership and strategic skills that include fiscal management. He or she as the next president must have excellent communication skills. Again, I'm going to stay on this. They must continue to involve the alumni, the students, and all other stakeholders. We can no longer go back to where we were before, where unilateral decisions, I feel, were made that excluded the alumni. And I say that because at the Board of Trustee meeting this morning, it was glad to hear that our student enrollment is up and that there are other great things that are going on. But in terms of new leadership, there is a lot of work left here to do at this university. So the next president, he or she, when it comes to Lincoln University, should not be given the opportunity to come in and make unilateral decisions, but be able to get contributions from all stakeholders involved.
Thank you. This is for all the candidates. This is the last question. And I believe, what, a minute, 1 minute, so. Why should alumni elect you to Lincoln University's Board of Trustees? And we will start with John Johnston.
I believe that I'm a diehard Lincoln person. I come from a strong Lincoln family. And I also believe that the strength of our university is through the core of our family. It's through our alumni, students, and faculty. And I think that I like to be a part of that and bringing on the next president of this institution. I've done some things that have been, dynamic, but I think there's that you only get that kind of opportunity once in a while as a trustee member, and I think that I could be an inaugural part in that.
Thank you.
So I hope to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Francis Paul,
The question?
why should alumni elect you to Lincoln University's Board of Trustees?
I want our alumni to know this about me if you don't know it already. I love Lincoln University. I believe in Lincoln University. I give back to Lincoln University. I bleed orange and blue. And until I can no longer do anything, until my dying moment, and I mean that with everything in me, I will always work for the good of Lincoln University. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Allen.
Okay, thank you. I have served 12 years here at Lincoln University from 2001 to 2013 as an assistant professor in the business department. We've spoken and you heard about increasing student enrollment in middle states. In 2008, under President Nelson, I was one of those faculty members who helped usher us through that middle states past Standard 14 of student assessment. In November of 2012, that small committee came back to Lincoln University in November, and it was one of our business programs that put us over the top in terms of being reaccredited. In 2008, because of my service to this institution, which I love dearly, I was awarded the Distinguished Board of Trustees Soraya M. Coley Award. So I am asking for your vote for the Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Vernon Davis. Why should alumni elect you to Lincoln University's Board of Trustees?
This is an awesome responsibility. We as trustees have one employee, and that is the president of the university. And we help to develop the policies to improve this great university. I would like your support to re-elect me to the Board of Trustees in order to further develop those policies and also to help improve Lincoln University. I'm not only an alum, I also am an investor. I not only attended Lincoln University, but I send my children here. So I've got a vested interest, not only personally for myself, but for not only my children, but also for other children at Lincoln University, to improve the university and make it a better place for us to attend.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of the first phase of this forum. Thank you for your participation. We'll start the second part of this forum. These are the candidates for President of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University. The first question, this is for both candidates, Scott Fields and Robert Ingram. Please introduce yourself with your name, class, some pertinent biographical information, and why you desire to serve as the President of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University. Start with Scott Fields. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. 1 minute, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Ernest Scott Fields. I am from the class of 1992, born and raised actually in Philadelphia. My mother was the one who actually introduced me to Lincoln University when she graduated from the MHS program here in 1985. Since I've actually graduated, which I graduated with a BS in Business Administration, I've actually gone on to create several companies. And during that time, I've actually felt it was actually my duty to shepherd in additional students to Lincoln University. What better way to actually do that was to actually introduce that to my own family. And since that time, I've actually brought in 7 of my own family to become graduates of Lincoln University. 2 who are on campus as of right now. Thank you.
Mr. Ingram, same question.
Repeat the question, please.
Please introduce yourself with your name, class, some pertinent biographical information, and why you desire to serve as President of the Alumni Association for Lincoln University.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the entire Elections and Nominations Committee. You've done a wonderful job, and we really feel proud of our whole association, and we can't thank you enough for your service. My name is Robert Ingram. I am in the survivors class of 1976. I've just been blessed to always, in the Lincoln realm, be in leadership roles. I was treasurer of my fraternity. I was president of my fraternity. I received the Distinguished Senior Award. I was one of the members of our baseball team, and I was a student senate representative. I've been president for the last going on 2 years, and in that time has been a rewarding experience, and I have served the association and attempted to listen to everybody and to represent everybody. I am delighted at this opportunity right now to run in a contested election, because I think that anything worthwhile is going to be contested, and I'm really honored by the caliber of my competition, and I think that the organization cannot lose.
Thank you. This question is also for Robert Ingram. What would you cite as the major accomplishments during your tenure?
I think that's very simple, and I appreciate the question, Yvonne. The major accomplishment that my administration has achieved is to help the organization to be more respected. Certainly, there have been a number of distinguished alumni that have served in the past and have had various levels and thresholds of achievement, but frankly, the organization had waned in terms of its participation. There was only one chapter in Philadelphia, an organization that really had been national and global in nature, had whittled down to really being a regional organization, and that did not serve our university nor the members of the Alumni Association well. Under my administration, we've increased membership, and we've also increased the number of chapters. Today, we just added the latest chapter, a total of 9, and for that, I am proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fields, what do you think are Lincoln's 3 most pressing issues, And what do you feel that alumni can do to assist the university?
Thank you. I think the three most challenging issues that we actually have right now, which you actually heard from the candidates for Board of Trustees, was the number one thing was actually going to be recruiting, getting students actually into these actual doors and onto this actual campus. That is the number one thing. The second thing that we actually need to do is we need to increase our actual funding. That is actually a paramount. And the third thing we actually need to do is that we need to actually form a better form of camaraderie between the students, the Board of Trustees, the Alumni Association, the alumni, and the actual parents that are out there. Those are the three things I actually feel that we have an issue. And the Alumni Association really actually has the job to be able to actually bring all that in-house and make that a more of a situation where we're doing all that in a more cohesive type fashion.
Thank you. This is also for you, Mr. Fields.
Okay.
How have you been involved with the alumni or the university?
Well, like I said, actually, in my original statements, the way I actually felt that I was becoming involved with the university and with the alumni was twofold. The first thing I felt was that I felt that I needed to actually bring and recruit students to Lincoln University. The best way to actually do that was to, again, if it was good enough for me, it's actually good enough for my family. If it's good enough for my family, it's good enough for anybody else at that particular point. So I've actually recruited several additional members of my family to become graduates of Lincoln University. But more importantly, one of the things I ended up doing was, while they were actually here, I didn't actually support the university. I didn't support the actual Alumni Association. What I actually ended up doing was, in retrospect, was really a bad thing. I just turned around and actually just paid some of their actual bills. You know, so that was one of the things that I just recently found out a couple of years ago, was I should have actually just earmarked that money via the Alumni Association specifically to those actual students. The second thing that I actually did was I actually felt that it was actually beneficial to help network those actual graduates who are leaving actually university and actually help them actually find new jobs from the time they actually left Lincoln University, and actually was looking to actually hire some of those actual students in some of my actual companies. So those are the ways I actually felt was the benefit, the true betterment of what I was doing with the university and the alumni.
Thank you. Mr. Ingram, what do you think are Lincoln's three most pressing issues? And what do you feel that alumni can do to assist the university?
Well, I think the most pressing issue from my vantage point is Lincoln's relationship with its alumni. I think that certainly the university has a responsibility to bear in terms of alumni engagement. However, the alumni also have a certain responsibility. I've heard a number of alumni complain about what the university is not doing, but then when I ask them what they're doing, they have very little to respond with. And all that points out to me as the leader of this association is that we've got to work a little harder. It's extremely easy to be critical of people who have a job to come to every day, or the volunteer leaders in this organization that demonstrate their commitment by being here like today on a snow day when other people are comfortable. It's easy to be critical of them when you're not doing anything. So I think that's the number one problem. The second problem, it's really leadership, and on all levels in this association, certainly on the board and within the realm of our stakeholders, the students, the faculty, as well. Is it time yet? The students, the faculty, and the administration. Leadership is the second issue. The other issue, and it's very simple, it's really, it's recruitment. It's recruitment. It's recruitment, not just of numbers, because I think it's easy to get caught up in the numbers, but I think it's important for us to start recruiting quality at Lincoln University and to raise our level of expectations and standards in that regard. I think we're starting to dummy down, and that's not the Lincoln that I know. It's not the Lincoln that I'm proud of. It's not the Lincoln that I want to represent.
Thank you. This is also for you, Mr. Ingram. As president of the AALU, what is your plan to build a bridge and narrow the gap between the association, alumni, and the university?
That's a great question. I've been working on that all along. Unfortunately, we had an administration up until the last several months that simply just didn't, not only did they not respect alumni and other things that were Lincoln, like our most historic buildings, our traditions, and other things, they really did not respect this association and alumni in general. And that's evident at some of the morale issues, but also some of the things that are much improved at this point in time. What I will continue to do, I was chosen as one of the co-chairs of the Committee of Alumni Leaders to improve relationships with the university, and no matter how we tried, we were turned back at every stage. I've had exceedingly progressive conversations with members, not only in this association, alumni all around the country, but also people in the administration and faculty that we are bridging the gap. We're having meetings constantly. We met with admissions yesterday, and we went through a training, and we're going to put a training out that's going to be uniform for all alumni coming up as it relates to recruitment. The fact of the matter is that our business model is directly proportionate to how well we do in recruiting students to Lincoln University, and if we don't do well in that one area, our school is in trouble, and alumni must do their share. As a matter of fact, we must be successful in doing that, and we are well on the way to putting not only a plan together, but enacting it and reaching some significant goals.
Thank you. Mr. Fields, what specific attributes do you bring to the position of president?
Actually, good question. Probably my key attributes goes into my past 20 years of business experience. What I actually do is, one of the things I actually do is I actually normally try to come into an actual organization and I actually look at to see what is actually not working. And let's actually try to actually fix that. And I've actually done that very successfully in my actual career. One of the things that Mr. Ingram actually just mentioned was we were talking about the business model of the university. Well, the Alumni Association itself actually has its own actual business model. And in my opinion, basically that business model was failing. We have very low membership. We have very low contribution and funding. We have very low camaraderie, and all that boils down to the actual business model of the actual university. Of the association. So one of the things I'm looking to actually do is I'm looking to actually go through that whole process of what the Alumni Association already has in place and figure out what is actually wrong and actually fix those actual issues. I do believe that because of my experience, I'm able to actually do that. This is what I do for a living.
Thank you. This is also for you, Mr. Fields.
Mm-hmm.
As president of the AALU, what is your plan to build a bridge and narrow the gap between the association, alumni, and the university?
Okay. The first thing that we need to actually do to actually bridge that actual gap is to, one of the things I'm looking to actually do is to actually repair the relationship between the Alumni Association and the Board of Actual Trustees and the actual obviously basically is now going to be our acting president. So I've already started with those actual discussions. But the second thing that we really need to do to actually bridge that actual gap, we need a better communication platform. Our communication platform that we actually have right now is Facebook. And that's to me, that's insane. We have no formal way of actually getting information out to anybody in the general alumni population, and other than folks who are actually in certain groups. There's none. So we need to actually have that. There are definitely ways to actually do that that are definitely very inexpensive and or easy to get done. The last thing that we need to actually do to actually bridge that gap, we need to become better stewards of the actual students here on the university. That's really should be our main focus. Okay, because right now they are actually clueless about as far as what they need to actually do, because they're looking at us as the actual benchmark for what they need to be looking at and what they're going to actually end up being once they leave here. So that's what we need to actually become, better stewards.
Thank you. Mr. Ingram, during your tenure, what steps have you taken to get more alumni actively involved with the association and our university?
Well, frankly, I don't have enough time to really answer that thoroughly, Yvonne, but I'll just give you a few things. First and foremost, we've increased membership by 50%, and our membership is at an all-time high. That we can, must, and need to do better, that goes unequivocally. We've increased the support of our chapters and their fundraisers significantly. There's not been one significant event that any of our chapters have had, most of which we either revitalized or formed, that the national does not support, not only from the standpoint of communications, but also from the standpoint of money and finances. Secondly, I hear, some comments relative to communications, but we've elevated the communications of this organization to an all-time high. We do the newsletter. The website we have is second to none. It's a first-rate website. And, frankly, what I learned as an alum that really was away too long is that often, alumni are out there with their heads buried in the sand. They really haven't engaged. And it's easy for them to say what people aren't doing because they aren't availing themselves. I didn't avail myself for a very long time. And once I kind of grew up a little bit and took some self-introspection and recognized what I wasn't doing, I got involved and I stopped pointing fingers and I started moving my feet.
Thank you. This is also for you, Mr. Ingram. What would you say is the purpose of the local alumni chapters, and how should the general alumni demonstrate their support?
The local alumni chapter is really where I first got started with this organization. I recognized that I couldn't just jump in this organization not having done anything, not knowing the structure of the organization, not having the leaders know me and get involved. I joined the Philadelphia chapter. It's the only chapter I could belong to. I was working in New York, I lived in Baltimore, but I made those meetings religiously, and I got in where I could fit in. I helped to revitalize the Baltimore chapter. I put together their first fundraiser. I recruited most of the members and the leaders of that chapter, and I still remain active serving on committees. I had fine examples of other alumni who had significant positions but still chose and recognized their need to be local. People like Vernon Davis. Part of what the challenge is in our association is a lot of people, if they don't have a big position, a big job, they feel that they're too good to exist on the local level. The local level is the life's blood of the alumni, and frankly, the local level is where we have to engage. It's on the local level that you get a chance to meet alumni where they are, not only in life, but in their careers, and also in terms of their perspective on Lincoln. I've got an extremely wonderful relationship with the local chapter in Baltimore. Not only are we working on dealing with the mission of our organization, but we're also authentic in that we involve ourselves with the matters that matter to the community. Race for the Cure, a number of things, and we're always representing and marketing Lincoln. So the local chapter is where it's at, and that's the stuff that people do that you don't really get credit for, but demonstrates your real commitment to the organization.
Thank you. Scott Fields. Please give us your plan to get more alumni actively involved with the association and our university.
Thank you. One of the first things that we were actually looking to do, my running mate and I, was to figure out, how we need to actually get those disenfranchised alumni actually involved. One of the things that we looked at was we pretty much asked, well, where is the strategic plan that the Alumni Association actually has? And we basically felt that right now, that every initiative they actually had was pretty much some ad hoc type initiative. So one of the things that we ended up doing, we ended up putting together a strategic plan that we actually are sending out. It's a rough draft. We sent that actually out. It's going out today. But one of the things that we ended up doing was we started saying, how are we going to end up bringing in those actual disenfranchised alumni? And there's different ways we actually do that. One of the first things we need to actually do is we need to actually have a concerted effort where we telemarket out to those folks, okay? There's so many different organizations here, fraternities, sororities, that we can utilize to actually get those folks who basically fell off the wayside. The second thing that we actually need to do is we really need to actually figure out a real capital campaign. And when we do that capital campaign, we're utilizing those folks basically who just basically, like Bob actually just said, fell off the wayside. So one of the things that we're looking to actually do is actually create that. The third thing we wanted to actually do, again, we actually want to set up a real communications type platform. Yeah, we've actually have a lot more chatter than we have anything now. But again, it's still very limited. The website, yeah, it's a website, but it doesn't give us actually any information. And so right now, folks have no clue what is actually happening here at the actual university if they don't show up for homecoming or the alumni picnic. So we need to figure out a way basically, and that's one of the things that we're looking to actually do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fields. Next question is also for Mr. Fields. What is your position regarding restoring Alumni Week to May and graduation to Sunday?
I'm actually all for that. That's probably the quickest answer you're probably going to get, right? I'm all for that. When I first actually heard about it, I was very disappointed. So the first thing I really wanted to ask is why was everything actually moved? I understand it was a financial issue. So my second question was, okay, well, what is the actual funding model for the alumni to actually make sure that we actually get it back? At that particular point, I didn't hear anything. So again, I think that is part of one of the things that we need to actually do as the Alumni Association is to actually create that actual funding model so we can actually approach the actual university and say, hey, look, we're here, okay? This is what we actually have for you at this particular point, basically, and these are what we're actually going to bring to the actual table. So that way, it should be a no-brainer. Look, if we have the actual funds or the plan to actually bring those actual funds, then why is it actually not, why is it not implemented? I don't see why it actually shouldn't be an issue. So I'm all for bringing it actually back, but it needs to be set up. And we need to be the ones who actually, or the ones who are setting up that actual platform and funding module so that we can actually have that university bring it back.
Thank you. Mr. Ingram, what specific attributes do you bring to the position of president?
The Lord has blessed me. One of the attributes that I bring to the association is a level of authenticity that fights against a culture where people are fearful of being honest with each other, honest about the environment and what's going on. The old timers had a saying, proof of the pudding's in the pie. There's also another saying, and I think it kind of is indicative of what's going on here right now. Those that can do, those that can't, they talk about what they can do, and they prognosticate. The fact of the matter is that our organization, meaning my colleagues and I, we're focusing and functioning off of the ROAR initiative, which was a strategic plan that was formulated I don't know, 6 years ago. Henry Lancaster, Valerie Whitney, Johnny Craig, and Sheila Harper and I, we formed the ROAR Committee, and we had a strategic plan. We presented it to this association and the last administration, and they never really enacted it. However, we've been working off of it silently because, frankly, the organization is really not ready. We had a team building exercise today in our meeting, and I don't know if people thought we were getting cute, but what we recognize is people have to build an esprit de corps, and they have to have teamwork going on, and that's what I am. I'm a builder, I'm a recruiter. I'm the chief recruitment officer for this organization, and the proof of the pudding is that it's more viable and solvent than it's ever been under my leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Ingram this question that's very popular. What is your position regarding restoring Alumni Week to May and graduation to Sunday?
Well, I'm not sure why you're laughing. I think I know, but I'm the brand leader. I'm not the vanguard of that. When it wasn't popular, when alumni didn't really want to step out there because we had new leadership that seemed to be charismatic, leadership that seemed to be authentic, leadership that seemed to care about Lincoln, nobody wanted to challenge a change that really had not been vetted. The fact of the matter is that there are some things about how we always did our reunions that, to a certain degree, they don't empower the university as much as it can be empowered. And I think most of us, if we're honest, we recognize that. However, we took away the thing that brought us all together, the university. We took away the biggest fundraising activity that the alumni have. And you just can't tell me that that's foolish. That's not foolish. It's very foolish. The university has done that, and even the current acting president, when we met with her back in December, we asked her for the numbers. We spoke the fact in business terms that there had been no cost-benefit analysis, there had been no metrics, there had been nothing to demonstrate that that was a wise decision, and she promised to get back to us with the numbers, which we still don't have, do we, Mr. Treasurer? Okay, so you know where I stand. I want it back. I stand for everything that's traditional about Lincoln. It's helped us to get here where we're at this far, and we will continue to be here another 160 years.
Thank you. That's a passionate one. Mr. Fields, what would you say is the purpose of the local alumni chapters, and how should the general alumni demonstrate their support?
Well, the local alumni chapters basically, and I'm going to actually just steal a line basically from my partner here, Bob. He's like he just said, they are the lifeblood. The local chapters basically give those in outlying geographical areas a link to Lincoln University when they actually can't get to the actual campus. And I think the local chapters, basically, they work pretty much almost as their own individual islands. And the problem is that really we need to be looking at those actual chapters almost like different type of franchises. We need to actually have and actually need to actually support those actual local chapters to actually do everything impossible they actually can in their actual recruiting, in their fundraising, in their membership drives. So they actually do that. And one of the things that I see is that a lot of them really don't actually interact with one another. I'm like, there's some, but they don't actually do. I mean, we just actually had the South Jersey chapter, basically, actually the new South Jersey chapter, actually do a very good actual fundraiser. And I was like, okay, well, who else actually reached out to you to basically find out if they can actually do it in other different states? And no one actually had. So we need to be able to actually set up the actual platform and be that the local chapters back office so they can actually do more on their own. I don't have a problem asking for the local chapters to actually do more. I think we all need to actually do more, but I think they actually can. And I'm like, when their success reflects back actually on the National Association.
Thank you. This is the last question for the candidates for president. Robert Ingram will be first, and Scott Fields will be second, and it's a 1-minute response. Why should alumni elect you to Lincoln University's, why should you be the president of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University? Sorry.
Well, first and foremost, I am the president of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University. And the reason that I am is because the alumni that elected me, they recognized that I was in tune with them, that they wanted to sustain their traditions, that everything that we felt good about Lincoln should be sustained and not be attacked or cast aside. I will continue and plan on, again, winning as the president of the Alumni Association, because I'm not caught up on a handful of people who have self-interest or want to be the lapdogs of the university. This is an independent association, and it shall remain so under my tenure. I plan on being the president, and I thank all the members that continue to elect me, and I've got an open door. You can call me, you can write me, you can email me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fields?
Well, I think I want to actually commend Mr. Ingram actually for actually stepping up. He's absolutely right on one aspect. We actually did vote for him, but I think right now our time has actually changed. We're actually at a crisis as of right now. Not just the actual with the Lincoln University, but with all actual HBCUs. And the Alumni Association really can actually be that vanguard for change. Right now, we definitely need some actual change. And right now, the policies that we actually have in place just are not actually working, or they're not moving us as fast as possible that we really need to actually have that type of change. So right now, that's one of the things I'm looking to actually bring in. So that's the reason why everybody, I think I should actually be voted in as alumni president.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Excellent answers. Have a hand. Next portion will be the vice president candidates. These are the candidates running for vice president of the Alumni Association for Lincoln University. First question is for both candidates for 1 minute, starting with Mr. Poole and ending up with Mr. Teal. Please introduce yourself with your name, class, some pertinent biographical information, and why you desire to serve as Vice President of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Allen Poole. I'm from the class of '73. And Lincoln provided me with a very well-rounded liberal arts education. I started as a music major, went to political science, and finished up as a business major. So over the years in working, I was away from the Alumni Association for the most part. I attended some of the social functions, you know, trying to work on a career, raising a family. And I understand that a number of alumni, most of the alumni have been in that same situation, and we don't see people coming back until they're in their later years. And what Bob, Darrell, and I have been working on for the last year and a half is trying to improve on gaining or reaching out to the younger alumni to become more active. Because as in any organization, you have to bring up the young. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Teal?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Teal, class of 1992. Proud member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I have a long lineage here in Lincoln University. As a student, I was class president my freshman through sophomore years. Actually, I was also my junior year when I was removed for military service in Operation Desert Storm. I was instrumental in instituting a number of campus-wide programs, including the current recycling program. Also came back as a mentor for fellow biology and chemistry majors. It's my degree was chemistry and biology.
Thank you. Mr. Teal, Based on your interaction with alumni, what would you cite as their major concerns?
My major concern with the Alumni Association would be re-engagement. There's a vital gap and disconnect between the current Alumni Association and the alumni at large. There's a belief that there's two alumni associations. There's the official Alumni Association, those that sit before us, and those that have graduated from Lincoln that are alumni that feel as though they have been forgotten, and they do not feel as though they're valued. Purpose of me running is to bridge that gap, to reach out to them and bring them back into the pride. We are one family, and it should not be various chapters or factions. We are one Lincoln University.
Thank you. This next question is also for you, Mr. Teal. How have you been involved with the alumni of the university? That's for you, yes.
I'm currently the president of the newly formed South Jersey Alumni Association chapter. We successfully had our first fundraiser in January after only 2 months of existence. I've also interacted with a number of fellow alumni as we have plans to set up political action committees and other organizations to help fundamentally support the Alumni Association.
Thank you. Mr. Poole, as Vice President of the AALU, what has been your vision and how have you assisted the President in keeping and growing alumni participation and giving?
Well, in general, Bob, Darrell, and I as a team have evolved into basically a general vision on most matters. One thing that I provide the President with is a second opinion in many cases. There have been times that Bob and I haven't agreed on certain things, and he's been willing to listen, and I've been willing to give my point of view as well. And that's how we have been able to accomplish what we have over the last year and a half.
Thank you. This is also for you, Mr. Poole. Based on your interaction with alumni, what would you cite as their major concerns?
Speaking of the alumni that have not been active, in many cases, as I mentioned earlier, it has to do with having family be their #1 concern. Also, a number of alumni prior to our administration felt that the Alumni Association was looked at as an exclusive organization for those people that can only get significant funds to the university. And what we have been working on in this administration is to try to be more inclusive of all alumni, whether you have reached some level of notability or wealth, or whether you're a low-wage employee working for someone else in the business. It doesn't matter as long as you have a love for Lincoln and you give what you can give. And because of that is why, as Bob had mentioned, we've been able to increase the numbers in the Alumni Association by over 50% in a short period of time.
Thank you, Mr. Poole.
Thank you.
Mr. Teal, as Vice President of the AALU, what would be your vision and your plan to assist the President in keeping and growing alumni participation and giving?
One of the visions I have is, and it relates to some of the questions you asked other candidates, is the branding. We have to look at this as a partnership. Although we are two exclusive organizations, the university and the Alumni Association, it is a partnership, as in a marriage. And although we have the same goal as the continuation and the growth of Lincoln University, we cannot effectively recruit if we don't have a relationship with the university. The university cannot effectively recruit if they don't have us, the Alumni Association, and the roots to the community. So that relationship has to be nurtured and strengthened so that we can both effectively do our functional missions in a synergistic manner.
Thank you, Mr. Teal. And this is also a question for Mr. Eric Teal. What recommendations would you make to the president of the AALU to educate and nurture current students to increase their involvement in the AALU upon graduation?
Well, actually, that's one of the items we spelled out in our strategic plan. Right now, the Alumni Association is one avenue. We have the Alumni Association, we have the Parents Association, and we have student government. That should be a seamless transition where we, as the alumni, ask parents to entrust their child to our institution. The parents bring them to the university. They get active on campus with the student organization, which we have a relationship with as alumni, as mentors, as cohorts, so that once upon graduation, we are known to them. It is a seamless matriculation, similar to as with the graduate and undergraduate fraternal organizations. We bring you in, we initiate you into the family, and we nurture you for a lifelong commitment.
Thank you. Mr. Poole.
Yes.
What would you say is the purpose of the local alumni chapters, and how should the general alumni demonstrate their support?
Okay, the local alumni chapters are in various different environments where, say, Philadelphia is able to do one thing where, say, coastal Virginia, which we just voted on today, may not have the same type of market that Philadelphia or Baltimore or Washington may have. So each chapter has to tailor its programs to their region. And what the National Alumni Association does, as Bob mentioned, is to both help in the marketing and the support of those functions that those chapters have.
Thank you. I have another question for you, Mr. Poole.
Okay.
What specific attributes do you bring to the position of Vice President of the Alumni Association?
Well, I think one of the main attributes that I have is that I act as an individual when it comes time to discuss those actions that the National Alumni Association has to do. As I mentioned earlier, there are a number of times where I do agree with what Bob has in his vision and how well it incorporates what both Darrell and I also have to give, but I will also speak out when I think that we're moving in the wrong direction. And Bob knows that I won't back down if I know that I'm right.
Thank you. And that concludes the Vice Presidential
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Braxton, please introduce yourself with your name, class, some pertinent biographical information, and why you desire to be reelected as treasurer of the Alumni Association of Lincoln University.
Thank you, Yvonne, and thank the Elections and Nominations Committee. You guys did a wonderful job putting this form together. We're all in this together. My name is Darrell Braxton. I'm the class of 1992, and I currently reside in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm a member of the Philadelphia Alumni Chapter. I believe, as the current treasurer, in 100% transparency in all financial transactions within this association, and I believe in being conservative with the money that we spend in this association. I'm running for re-election because I believe I'm the best candidate for this position. Thank you.
Okay. So this question is also for you.
Yes.
As treasurer of the AALU, how will you keep alumni better informed about the budget and its allocations?
Thank you, Iman. We meet, the council meets several times a year. We have a budget process that we allow all of the council members to participate in. I present a budget to the council. We go over the budget. Every chapter is represented on the council. The chapter presidents then will inform, or hopefully inform, each chapter of what our budget is. And then we have, different trustees on the council, and we have different committee members on the council.
Thank you. This question is also for Mr. Darrell Braxton. On average, how much has been raised annually through alumni dues, and what has been the major line items?
That's a great question. The major, in terms of expense?
Yes.
The major line items currently are probably postage and printing and graphic design work. Those are probably our three biggest expenditures. As far as donations, in 2014, through two programs that this administration initiated, we raised a little less than $5,000, which went right directly to Lincoln University. We just donated about 3,500 to 7 student scholarships, and that's something that we plan to continue for the next quarter, or the next semester.
Well, thank you. And last but not least, this is also for you. Why do you desire to be reelected as treasurer of the AALU?
It's not that I wanted to be the treasurer of the Alumni Association. When I graduated from Lincoln in 1992, I attended my first alumni meeting that September. And there were 5 individuals in that room in the Philadelphia chapter. None from my class. They were probably from 20, 30 years older than I were. I attended the October meeting, and again, they were 20 and 30 years older, so I didn't relate to that Philadelphia chapter. I then went back about 10 years later, and again, it was the same 5 people in that Philadelphia chapter, and I just didn't relate. So probably about 3 years ago, I got back involved in the Philadelphia chapter, and I saw that with my skills and talents were better served on a national level than a local level. This association has been leaps and bounds versus previous years in terms of our accomplishments. Everything's not perfect, but compared to the past, it's leaps and bounds. And that's why I want to serve the Alumni Association, because of my skills and my talents. Just one more point. When I became the treasurer, there's 4 classes that lead in number of members. It's a class of 76, which Bob Ingram is a member of. There's a class of 73 that Kitty Poole. There's a class of 79. And we're tied. The class of 1992 is tied with the highest number of members in this association with the class of 79. When I first started, when I became the treasurer, we were way back there. The class of 92 was way back there as far as members. So that's why I want to be the treasurer again, to bring on new members and to let my skills help the association grow. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Braxton. And that concludes our forum. I'd like to thank everybody who participated. I'm very proud of everyone who was running for office. Thank you so much for coming and weathering the storm. And everybody have safe travels back home. I'm Yvonne Lashley. I'm your moderator, and I'm with the class of 1977.
Before we adjourn, hold on. Before we adjourn, I just want to go over the timeline for this upcoming election. The forum was today. The Nomination Elections Committee will mail out all ballots, will be distributed by U.S. mail by April the 1st. Okay? All ballots must be returned in self-addressed stamped envelopes by May the 2nd, 2015. All ballots not postmarked by May the 2nd, 2015 may be hand-delivered to the Nominations Committee on campus on May the 16th, 2015. Again, I'd like to thank everybody, the committee, the candidates,